Speaking of this government, I'm beginning to think there's no situation the Albanese government cannot make worse. Their incompetence is matched only by their unfailing ability to outdo themselves with even greater ineptitude over and over again. You thought that was bad? Watch this is now almost a daily refrain. Take, for instance, Penny Wong's belated trip to Israel. I say belated because our foreign minister waited until 3 months after 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered before, getting around to visiting our Middle Eastern ally. How does the expression go? Better late than never? And yet, in now typical Labor fashion, Wong managed to mangle even that. Not only was Wong late in showing solidarity with Israel, but she first visited Jordan, where she announced millions of dollars for Gaza. It was a hell of a way to show love for grieving Israelis. Gaza, you might remember, is where the October 7 attacks came from. Some Gazan civilians participated in the attacks, celebrated the attacks, and even now are actively assisting Hamas in holding hostages. Whatever, here's $21.5 million from Australian taxpayers. Like I said, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, but wait, it gets even worser. After giving away our money, Wong then admitted she couldn't be sure the millions wouldn't end up in the pockets of terrorists. No problem. Penny Wong told a meeting of Palestinian Authority officials that the money intended to pay for civilian health care and childhood education must not be misused by Hamas. I imagine the conversation went something like this. Penny Wong would have said, here's $21.5 million. Now, you're not going to use it to shoot rockets at Jews, are you? Palestinian leaders would have replied, us? No, never. But Wong wasn't born yesterday. She would have insisted on watertight guarantees, like making them pinky swear. I'm sure she asked them, cross your heart? And you just know how they would have replied, cross our hearts, hope to die, as martyrs. Labor have never seen a problem that couldn't be fixed by lip service and taxpayer dollars. And, like I said, Labor have never seen a problem they couldn't make even worse. When Wong eventually arrived in Israel, having just handed their tormentors millions of dollars, she insisted the Albanese government stood with the hostages and their families. They should have made her pinky swear on that one, because no sooner had the words left her mouth than it was revealed the Albanese government had not yet declared the October 7 terror attack a terror attack. Now that means Australian Jews who lost loved ones in the attack are still, more than 100 days later, not able to access financial assistance through the government's Victim of Terrorism Overseas payment. The Albanese government is still considering whether a terror attack by a designated terror group should be recognised as a terror attack. It's a tough one. Would the decision be easier if, the victims weren't Jews? We stand with the families of hostages whilst equivocating on whether or not to make available payments to families of hostages is exactly the sort of double-mindedness we've come to expect from a Labor mob who are starting to make the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd governments look like world beaters. Has there ever been a government so out of depth, so lacking in moral clarity and so blind to unintended consequences as this mob? And whatever you do, don't say, well, at least it couldn't get any worse. Just give it a week.